Hey, so I wanted to make a quick video. We're going to be sharing our Texas workload spreadsheet for the water resources group. And in case other groups are looking to use it, I just wanted to make this quick video explaining just some of the basics of how it works and how you can utilize it. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and kind of work tab to tab and explain everything that we got in this. We call it the Pelicans Workload Projections version 2.5. It's had some modifications every time we do anything significant. We give a new number. So we'll start out with this weekly deadlines tab. This really is what we call a dummy tab. It doesn't have any pivot tables or anything complex work in here. We've just got the dates that are equationed in and then allowing people to put in, or actually we use this a lot in our biweekly meetings with the whole Texas Water Resources team. And we just talk through major project issues, upcoming deadlines, put in team members, PTO, and staff working elsewhere, marketing, business development, et cetera. And then it has column by column, it has all the projects that we have in the spreadsheet so that we could kind of go through here during those weekly or biweekly meetings and put for each project anything significant, such as a submittal deadline or something like that. So this one, it doesn't have a lot of complex functionality to it, so it's pretty straightforward and you don't necessarily have to use it. It's just how we're running things in Texas. You don't have to use it to get the rest of the benefits of the spreadsheet. So we'll go to the next one, the month button. This has an embedded macro. Even though I developed this macro and kind of put in this stuff, I have to kind of look back and see what it's doing. What it does, this is a button that we press every month to change the start date of what the projections are looking at. So we're now in December. So I think last week I went and hit the button so it would show December instead of November as the first date where we are looking at workload projections. As time goes on, I have a certain number of dates that this macro looks at in these columns. And when we reach the end of those, I sometimes, like we might be here, I sometimes need to add to that. So it'll, see, it says our current month is 24, our next month's count here. So what it's going to do, if I hit the button, it's going to move that current month count to 25. And then it's going to look up what is 25. So we've already kind of run through enough time that I ran out of the dates I put in. So I need to start hard adding some like 1/1/2026 in there and so forth. 2/1/2026 all the way down so that every month we can update it to keep the projections current. And instructions, haven't gotten around to writing out firmly the instructions, but hopefully this video will be helpful in explaining the key points about this spreadsheet. Power BI budgets. This one, I'll get to. This red staff is going to be where we list all our projects, and even the dummy spreadsheet back here, weekly deadlines, that's pulling from where we list out the projects and it references them. And this Power BI budgets tab is just a place that we can go in and update and put what the fee is, what the drainage fee is for that task. We can, and then we put in our total effort to date. That way the spreadsheet can look at based on how much we've spent and how much we're projecting to spend. Will we go over budget? So this remaining budget, you're hard entering what the budget is and what the effort to date is off of Power BI. It doesn't go in and grab it. It's really complicated to do that because one, it's often not an overall project budget. So it's a summation of different tasks within a major budget. So we just hard enter these, and we do it periodically, maybe every month, every other month or so. We keep our assignments more up to date than we do necessarily the budget, but we try to do this pretty regularly. And so that would show, here's the total fee, here's the effort to date, here's the remaining. This is looking at everything that we've got assigned, which we'll get to in other tabs, in this spreadsheet that we're projecting work out on that project. This is how much we've got projected to spend. And so we look at, is that more than the remaining? Then we're over budget on that project, et cetera. And then this is a place where we can, because it's something we manually update, we have a location where we can say, hey, we updated this on 11/13/2025. Someone took the effort to go check Power BI and enter this stuff in here. We have it set up to where we can do filters. So we have different PMs responsible for the project. And so we can filter to different PMs projects, and that way you could update your budgets in here accordingly. So the next tab, this red one, is the staff. This list here is all the projects that we are projecting out in our spreadsheet. It's been set up to hold 50 different projects, basically, with the other tabs, and how much we've been projected to, or how much we at first did not have nearly as many projects as we do now. Now we're starting to fill this up, but we're still not quite there, that we need more room. But what we do is look at like when projects are becoming inactive. Like I just talked to Amir, who's doing this, and this is now in construction. So we're not likely to have major assignments to this that we need to keep letting it take up rent space in our spreadsheet. So at that point, when projects become more inactive, like this one, we'll see it in other tabs that are referencing these projects. But in order to create room for new projects, I would go in here and say, this one, make it available. So this is project 4 now, and I will kind of delete the specific information about it. And so now that would reflect, and I'll show you, and I'll just go to this tab real quick and then come back. But if I take out the filters, or here, so it shows project 4. Before I did that, it was shown that Jones Mill Pond that we just changed it to. So going back, other important things on this tab, this area here, this is where we put the available rates, available staff categories, especially this column right here is the available staff categories that we have to choose from. And this is their raw labor rates that we have for those categories. So if you wanted to add or modify these, you can. If you add, you might need to adjust some of the range that the other cells in the spreadsheet look for within this column. So that's important. So I'll skip ahead to the next one and then come back again. But so here's what, see, we have on the next tab, this staff category will show up, and we'll get into that. That's pulling from here. And this is more to the right is our team. Pull this out of the way. So this table over here is our team. So this is all the people that we have that will have options to select from when assigning work. So these are actual people, and then we just put what their category is. In Texas, we have another spreadsheet that we have to transfer all of this data to. So this Texas workload forecast category, I think that's really specific to us because we're transferring the data. It's probably not relevant to anyone that's trying to just utilize this spreadsheet for their team. But we take the data that this spreadsheet spits out, and then we transfer it over to that one. And I have a tab set up in here to do that. But yeah, we put each team member, and we also have some generic ones that we've added, like a generic PE. Generic PE would mean that someone that we know or we're thinking it's going to need a PE on this project. We haven't quite decided who that's going to be. We also, in Texas, we've used this like some work share PEs as well, where that's saying, I don't see work share EITs, but if we say work share, what we mean by it is we know who it is, but they're not really local to our team. So we're just showing it in our spreadsheet, but it's not someone on our team that we're keeping track of all their workload for. So this is a pretty important tab, because if we add staff or want to change the categories or the rates or something, then we need to do that in this tab first, and then it'll go through the rest of the spreadsheet. This is the active list of projects that we do. And we sometimes add a few notes in here since it's one of the main spots to just look at what we have overall. Project Centric Assignments is the next tab. This is the one that makes all the cool pivot tables and functionality work on the spreadsheet. So it's pretty easy to work with, and it's referring back to, as we said, it's referring back to that red staff tab for the list of projects. And then it has, so this will be a place of the main point of data entry once you have your projects in, and the main point of making assignments to projects. So it lists everything that's on this staff tab, and it has the ability to, like the other one, filter down based on PM or whatever. We also have a place for some of this generic stuff like holiday. And there you can enter in, where people are expected to have PTO. So it starts at the month based on the month button, and it goes out. In our case, it goes out about 2 years. And it's set up to bring this data into another spreadsheet that looks 2 years out. So that's how we do it. So you can put people's PTO in there, and that way it'll show up in their overall workload forecast that, hey, they have 40 hours of PTO in January and 120 hours of projects. So we know they're taken care of as far as utilization, that sort of thing. And it goes through project by project, and basically you just select people. These are Excel sometimes makes me go to the next tab and go back to make it to where I click on the cell I want to. But you can go through and select who you want to assign hours, which is what we've done here. And if I assign someone, this is set up to VLOOKUP their category based on the staff, based on this table here, what category we've given them. So that's been set up to just VLOOKUP. And that will factor in when it's calculating the cost, that the budget cost that's spent for whatever person you assign. So you just go in and assign the staff, or generic staff if you want to use those general numbers like general EIT, general PE, and then assign how many hours you think they're going to work on that project. So we do that for we try to keep our projects, pretty up to date. It's not a exact thing, and we know that, but we're trying to estimate for planning purposes so we can see, hey, we need more help, or hey, we don't have enough work for this person. Utilization. This is just and so that's the main point. Let me stop here. That's the main point of data entry for everything to the right. Everything we're going to look at to the right of here is just ways that things that we've set up to kind of view what's in here. So this utilization tab, I use this sometimes. This just shows each staff member and how many hours total they have assigned. So it's looking back at the information that we have in this Project Centric Assignments, and then it's summing up their hours. And so it lets us see, spot things that we know are problematic or probably not right. Like, oh, okay, ProjectWise has 300 hours assigned in June. It's probably not realistic, and it's far enough out that we could ship that to someone else, but it helps us to plan and see those things in advance and do something about it. Okay, new format summary. Not a great name at all for this, but this is a pivot table, and this is one of the most, and you can set up other pivot tables too. We've set up these things to really show what we want to see, and it's probably very helpful. You probably want to keep these. I'm sure you'll like this one too. But if you want to set it up in a different way, there's ways to, of course, make a new pivot table looking at this data in some other way. So for example, I've done one, I don't know if I have one in here, but I've done one like per project instead of per person, to where you can see everyone that's assigned on that specific project and what's spent that way. So let me go through this. So one thing, it's a pivot table. One of the things you do to make sure it's current is just go to this pivot table, analyze, go to refresh. Okay, the other thing is this pivot table fields is important. So if that gets lost or closed out on accident, you go to this field list. And when looking at this tab, it shows, we've set it up to show each person assigned and then what they're working on. But we often want to just like look at a few people, so we'll put filters on it. Someone may come in here and be like, oh, I just want to see what Jonathan has on his plate. And so you could take out everyone and just show Jonathan, okay, he's got I-20 PS&E, he's got Po White. So what did I just do? I did not mean to do that. I don't think it ruined anything. It just created something new on accident. I'm going to delete that. No, I do not need that. Okay, and so I'll go ahead and turn everything on, or actually I'll turn on a lot of times, well, some of these blank staff, that doesn't mean anything. We don't need to show those, but I'll turn on everything that is relevant, may have assignments. And so this is also one that we sometimes flip through in our meetings and just be like, okay, one, how realistic is it? We can talk about, hey, is this really, Delise, you look busy in January. Are these all true? That way we can know whether we need to go back and fix things. And it shows us, like you can see, you can collapse them to where you just see the total, or expand them to see what specific projects people are working on. So that's really handy. But you can see, like, currently we show a lot of work between now and March, but then a lot of people start to kind of die down as far as workload. So we're looking at that currently there. And part of that is we do have some new assignments that we need to add in here. But another part is there actually is probably a little bit of a slowdown for what we have currently in Texas. So we might be looking to work share. And this spreadsheet, especially this tab, can show us that pretty clearly. The utilization can show you that too. Shows sort of the same thing, but it doesn't give the detail of being able to expand out and look at the projects. So this next one, again, this is using the data that you're putting into the Project Centric Assignments. It's also using the budget info from the Power BI budgets. And this is set up to show how much to be a place to look. And all of these can be like filtered to who the PM is. So I could expand it out and show all the projects. It looks at your projected amount spent of the total budget. That's why I set this one up. So it's looking at what's the current amount spent plus the amount that we have in the spreadsheet over the total project budget, and it's just telling you what the percent spent is. Work share projects, this is much the same as this new format summary. I need to give that a better name, but because I'm making this video, I'll give it to you with that name so you know what it is, and you can change the name, feel free to, of this tab. And this, we filter it out to specific projects that we know they'll work share or something like that, or staff that we are using that are delegated as work share staff. So we could turn on some of the work share staff that we might turn off here because it's not really important to us. We're just, we're not responsible for keeping the work share staff 100% utilized. We're just using them for whatever need we have. So the spending projector, I'm trying to recall. Okay, this is transferring what you're putting in the project centric assignments into dollars. So this is and this is looking at, it includes the multiplier. I think I'm hiding some of the other things, or it's coming from this project centric dollars, which factors in the multiplier, which is puts AG. Let's see. Project Centric Assignments G6 times. Actually, it looks like it might be raw labor. I'm trying to think. And this is the total dollars for specific projects that are assigned to the spreadsheet. I don't use that one that often. It's probably duplicate of, well, let me see. I think some other tabs might be pulling from this. I don't necessarily go to that tab specifically. I want to be able to state correctly if this is wild labor or if this is revenue. Okay, that's in labor. And this, I believe, is revenue. Let me look at that. Filter here so I can firmly answer that. $3,000. So that's 9,360 spending projector. Yeah. So it's times A13 to C 63.3. which would be A30. So it's looking at this, it's pulling the multiplier from here. So this, what I have in the spending projector is looking at revenue dollars. And what I have in Project Centric is looking at people's raw labor rates. That's how I've got it set up for that. And then that's all feeding it to revenue percent completes based on the total revenue budget here. So those are things that I've found, not necessarily that you have to use every part of this spreadsheet, but I've made them to be helpful to us. Okay, this is just for Texas. You won't need to worry about this, but this is how Texas spreadsheet is set up. They have those months and they have young person or PE. Those are the only two options. So it transfers everything in our spreadsheet to that. And I basically just copy all this in, but you won't need that part. And I'll probably delete all this out before sharing with you. But you can do similar things. This is from an old one, the pivot table. If I were to refresh it, I think it would break. But you could create similar pivot tables if desired to see like just one project. Like here, I have it just set up to see 390, and it shows all the people that are assigned to it. Oh, this is kind of, all these are old pivot tables that if I were to refresh, they would break. But you can do stuff like that. I'll delete it out before sharing with you. All these magenta ones are kind of the current pivot tables and other tabs that I've created to view the data. And that's about it, to try to keep this somewhat short. If you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to me. I'm going to pass this on to Mike Galvin, who said he was going to share it with some people in the group. All righty. Thank you.